Well, today's the day. I have an appointment with my attorney. I have some financial and personal things that I have to get taken care of. If you have not done this, you need to do this. You need to schedule an appointment and get this done. There's also a few questions that I have to ask. So let's see how this works out and enjoy the video. All right, I'm at a law firm with Shaun. He's an attorney, and I have some stuff I have to get taken care of. And before we get started, Shaun, I just have one question. It's a question I always wanted to know. How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb?
Well, you know, AJ, if I told you that, I'd have to charge you a processing fee.
Okay, on that note, let's get down to business. Okay, a question. I'm here for a will and testament. Is that
Yep.
what it's called?
Yep.
What is the pro of having one of these as of right now?
So there's generally two time periods when people really start to look at getting a will. The first one would be when they have kids. Okay. And the second one would be later in life when they actually have more assets maybe that they've acquired that they're looking to set out how it's going to be distributed.
Okay.
So the first time is typically when you have young children. And the largest benefit of having a will is you giving some guidance, you and your wife giving some guidance as to where the kids should go or who should determine where the kids go. And this is a big benefit because if you pass away, it's a very hard time in the lives of your whole family, for the children. And frequently, if there's not a will in place, the court's essentially going to have to decide who should be the one to determine where those kids go and where they should go. Okay. And we've got different families. Different families can have different opinions, and there can be some... Even when everybody gets along, in the stress of a situation of a death, sometimes some bad feelings can start to gather in people, and a lot of it too is people just thinking, well, what would they really want? Because they don't know what you would want. Okay. So what we typically advise is for people to have a will that says who will say where the kids go, and you can even put in there, the idea is that you would take care of our kids, and hopefully you talk to them, but we don't actually advise to say, I want my kids to go to this person. And the reason why is, we see this all the time, when people go to make plans in terms of what they think the future is going to be, well, the future changes. And somebody that might be in a great position to take care of your kids now, something could happen in their life. Okay. Let's say you have a brother or sister, they've got a great family. In a year or two, they could have a divorce, or they could have a spouse die, something horrible happen. Okay. And then if you died a year after that, well, now this person's not necessarily going to be the one that's in the best position to take the kids. And so what we tend to advise is to say, I trust this person's judgment. The idea is right now, how things look when we wrote this will, we thought you could take the kids, but, we don't want to be in a position to force people, and you can't, to take kids. So we're going to leave it in your judgment to say where they go, with the idea that, you could take them. Okay. And that way, too, the family knows who to look to, and they don't have to have any kind of question back and forth and who should be making that decision. So at least then there's a point person, and they know that you guys thought that out and made that decision, and hopefully they can have a little more peace in allowing that person to make that decision. Okay. So that's the main one for when you have young kids. And then later in life, when you've got more assets to distribute, it's good to set out exactly how you want that taken care of. Specifically, so that after you pass away, again, it's a stressful time in people's lives. Well, a lot of times there could be fights in terms of what mom and dad really wanted. So this gives you an opportunity to lay that out. Okay. Now, if you don't have a will, the property is still going to be divided among your family. It's not like the state's going to come in and take it, but it's going to be passed down through sort of default rules, which is just generally everybody to your surviving heirs equally. And this might be what you want, but it's best to set that out. And secondly, especially if you still have children who aren't necessarily of a fully mature age, or just in case one of your kids predeceases you and they have kids that would get money and they're at a young age, it gives you a chance to put some protection in place for them to not have an opportunity to spend all that money before they're mature. So typically what we put in our wills is anybody who's going to get it, it's actually going to be until they get to a certain age, which I think 30 is a good age, even though that might seem a little old. Yeah. But until then, somebody else is going to watch the money for them. It doesn't mean that they can't use it. So if they've got college, let's say they want to buy a home, the person watching that money for them can allow the money to be used for that. But at least it allows some oversight in terms of the money not being wasted, because we all know that you worked really hard to earn that money, and you want to distill in your kids typically that kind of work ethic for them too, and not necessarily just waste it all. Okay. So that's the big reasons why we set up wills. And the biggest one I'd say is just to avoid any kind of family fighting that can occur, even in the best of families, in that kind of stressful situation.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that before.
And to protect from potential heirs getting it before they're ready in the future. Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Shaun, for taking time out to explain this, because I need to get my will done over, because things have changed. I'm older now and married, children, and things like you said. So I just want to say once again, thank you for taking time out to explain this. Have a great day, viewers. Bye.